rules. We had our 95% rule, which was very simple names. We had our 25% rule, which is going to have our qualifying term, dinner, nuggets, entree, formula, etc. We had our with rule, which I was very sad to see that the food that I feed is actually, bam, part of the with family, 3% rule. And then we had the flavor rule. Normally I would have come to class with a big clock around my neck. I don't have it here. But anyway, so you got your flavor rule, which is 0%. It's a detectable amount. We talked yesterday about any statements like new and improved, and these have to be proven. You can't put that something is new and improved and not have it be new and improved. You have to actually have done something to it in order. Do what?
It doesn't have to be new, right? It doesn't have to be technically improved.
Something has to be different. Something has to be different. It doesn't necessarily have to be both new and improved. But we can only keep that on the package for 6 months. Now that's 6 months of manufacturing, not 6 months of selling, right? We can keep it on the shelves as long as it is sold, as long as it is good. So this is 6 months of manufacturing. There's that very graphic pit bull fight. Oh, I just love this picture. My goodness. His feelings are just so hurt right there. So what this is showing is any other comparisons like Huff and Puff Awesome Dog Food Corporation, 3 out of 4 pet owners prefer it. Well, I'm going to do 3 out of 4 because nobody's going to believe 4 out of 4. And I got to be able to document it. But the thing is, we're going to use some sort of arbitrary term like the leading brand because there is no definition. Which one is the leading brand? I don't know. Depends on what your parameters are. All right, so we all have our pet food bags with us. My hope is. If not, I will be demonstrating on my own as best as I can. My poor dogs have finally resigned that just because I have the dog food bag out, they're not getting fed. They're all quietly sitting in their beds right now. So the first thing is we need a product name. Now our product name, remember, is different than our manufacturer name. Here I have my manufacturer's name, which is Purina. Product name here is going to be Beneful. Here on my PowerPoint, the product name is going to be here, Kibbles, Chunks, and Chews. There's our alliteration. Our brain just took a, found its repeater. Chunks and Chews. Ol' Roy is the manufacturer. And if I teach you nothing else in this class, if you feed Ol' Roy, please stop. Please stop. We looked at some of the marketing here. They've chosen to do the white background. We have a very healthy looking corgi. It's either a Pembroke or a Welsh cardigan, don't know. Here we have, look, beef, chicken, and cheese flavors. Okay, so beef, chicken, and cheese, which one of these is not included in the digest of the flavors? I got beef, chicken, and cheese. Yeah, cheese, because remember all of these rules, the flavor rule, the with rule, all of those only count for the protein. Cheese is not a protein. Cheese is a carbohydrate. It's a sugar, and it has a crap ton of calories. And for some reason, we got into a rousing discussion about cheese at our social this week. It's very random, the stuff we talk about at these socials. Very random indeed. And I was very appreciative that Brittany gave us a tour of her spider room, and it was absolutely one of the most fascinating things I've ever seen. So thank you again for that, Britt. It was amazing.
You're welcome. I'm sorry it was a mess.
I wouldn't have known if it was. I don't know. I have no illusions that I would even guess what a spider room is supposed to look like. So you could have told me this is the tidiest spider room on the face of the planet, and I would have nothing to judge you by.
Having to tear apart that table to find that one. My room looked like a bomb went off.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, why didn't you just leave them? Just let them go.
You still have 500 spiders, right?
Do what?
I said you still have 500 spiders, right?
Something like that.
You know I'll be praying for you, Brittany, right? I'll be praying for you, girl. 500 spiders or tarantulas or whatever. That's something I gotta pray about, girl. Cause Jesus.
I gotta pull one of their egg sacs on next Thursday, so I'm excited to see how many are in there.
But didn't you just get 70? Why do you need so many more?
I have another show coming up in like the beginning of next month, and I send out a lot.
Now, one question, and then we'll get back to nutrition. Do you only do tarantulas, or do you do any other spiders?
Nope, just tarantulas.
Okay. Interesting. So you don't do any of the hot venomous. Do people actually? Do people
I have
actually?
super venomous tarantulas, but I don't do any normal spiders.
Okay, interesting.
They don't live long enough. I don't have the heart to have something and it die in like a year and make me sad.
All right. So moving off of the spiders, which was insanely fascinating. So just for those of you that didn't come to the social nanny boo boo because you missed something amazing. All right. So number 2. Okay, we got 8 things to go through. Number 2, we have to know, is this dog food? Is this cat food? And as I pointed out yesterday very clearly, that this says right here that this is in fact dog food. So I know that yesterday, some of you were like, Miss Huff, it doesn't say it. It doesn't say it there. And I'm like, no, it does. It says it right there. And you're like, I don't see it. I don't see it. And I'm like, well, you're blind. It's right there. And you guys just didn't believe me that it was right there. Hey, that's what happened in my head. That's exactly the scenario that we went through. However, we don't have to have, see guys, I told you it was right there. It's right there. And you guys were all like, no, it's not. I don't even see it. It's only got the picture. And I'm like, guys, it's right there. I love you. All right, so we are allowed to assume, though, if I've got a picture of a dog or if I've got a picture of a cat, I can assume that that's the species the food is intended for. I don't have to write it on the package. This picture of the dog is good enough. Here we had some more packages that we went over. We talked about the very visceral emotional response of this color combination. Fall, Thanksgiving, emotions, food. We have even a sporting breed dog. But remember, in every one of these pictures so far, tail is up and friendly, ears are forward, eyes are gentle, mouth is slightly open, tongue protruding. Everything about this picture is saying friendly dog, friendly dog. Here we have this very bizarre, unnatural looking cat with the eyes of gemstones. We've got alliterations coming out of every orifice. Fancy, feast, gourmet, gold, with 3%. All right, so moving right along, number 3 of the 8 things. I need to know, right here, how much food I'm buying. So this bag is 3.5 pounds. And then of course we have the much more commonly used metric system. So I have 56 ounces of food or 3.5 pounds of food. Now here on my packaging, now on here, I'm not trying to sell you Purina, okay? I'm not trying to sell you Science Diet. I use these pictures in my PowerPoint because they were the food that we were feeding on campus at the time, and I took the pictures myself. I just happened to go to the grocery. This is the food I feed my own dogs because It's not a bad diet. It's pretty economical. And they like it. You know, I could be feeding them worse things, quite honestly. Here I have my weight. Here's the weight. Now, I want to make one slight, tiny little distinction. So when we're referring to the weight, it has to be the weight of the food minus the packaging. Here's where pet food companies, and some of you who are older, okay, may remember when pet food was packaged like this. So you would go and you get like the 40-pound bag or even the 20-pound bag of food. And the outside was like this almost hard, crisp cardboard. It was like manipulative cardboard. And then inside was a super heavy, thick plastic sleeve. And then there may have even been a second layer of cardboard and then the food in the bag. Does anyone remember when the packaging was so just robust? There was no flimsy, hey, let's just tear it open. Oh my God, these pet food bags sometimes were like sewed closed. You'd have to get some scissors, and they had to be heavy duty work scissors and cut it. There was no just unroll it, right? This is now the packaging. It's super, super thin. Well, why? Why did it change? Well, here's what happened. They were basically like feed bags. Yes, Yenny, they were basically like equine feed bags. So what they were doing is the net quantity statement at the time just said, what does it weigh? And so what they were doing is making the bags as heavy as possible and including that in the weight. And so the governing bodies came back and said, whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, you can't do that. That's cheating, cheater, pumpkin eater. So now what the rule states is that the net quantity statement is the amount of food minus the weight of the bag. You are not allowed to add the weight of the bag. And suddenly, oh my God, we didn't need that thick, amazingly hefty packaging anymore. It's a miracle. All right, so number 4, and the thing I find a little frustrating at this point is we're halfway through the required pieces of information and we've not yet addressed anything to do with the food. We need to include the manufacturer's name and address. So this can sometimes take a minute. Here we go. Online, manufactured. Right there. So I have this St. Louis, Missouri, the Nestle Purina Pet Care Company. All right, so that doesn't tell me a whole lot of information. So the manufacturer's name and address. However, I do not have to do a physical street address. I can simply put the city and the state. However, if I put the city and the state, I have to be able as a consumer to find the physical address in the local telephone directory. But on the package, I do not have to put a physical street address as long as I can find it on the local city directory. One of the things that I look for is how much information does the pet food company give you to contact them? So these guys gave me literally nothing to go on. I've got a city and I've got a state. And that's pretty much it. I'm looking. I don't really have any other information to contact this company. There is a 1888 number, but it is in the tiniest little print at the very, very bottom. So Hill's Pet Science Diet, look at the information they've given us. Now, yes, they just gave us a city and a state, but they've also given us a website. They've given us a phone number. And guys, every single one of you, shockingly these days, carries a computer in your pocket. Oh, I have a text. Let's get rid of that. Every single one of you has one of these in your pocket. If they give you a website, look it up. If they give you a phone number, guess what? Guess what this computer does? We often forget what it does. I can go beep, beep, boop, 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 boop. And I can physically talk to somebody on this device. I'm just saying. Call them. See what kind of information they're willing to give you. The more information they're willing to share, the less they have to hide. That's my personal theory. Finally, huzzah! We got something to do with the food in the bag. The ingredients list. So the ingredients list, as we know, is in descending order by weight. And this can include the water content. Meat is very high in moisture. So guess where it's most likely going to appear? There's my ingredients list. Look what the number one ingredient is. Beef. Does that mean there's more beef in this food than any other ingredient? No, it means it's the heaviest. Another thing that we need to know about humans is, here I've got ingredients list. This is chicken byproduct meal. Okay, tell me the difference between meal and meat. What is the difference between meal and meat?
Isn't meal
meal has
everything?
no water.
Yeah, meal doesn't have the water. So if I have this meal as a first ingredient, I know it's not artificially inflated in the ingredients list because of the addition of water. But here's the other thing about people, okay? People are a little bit lazy. All right, we all know what that means. So people in general, I know there's going to be one of you out there that's like, I read through all of them. That's great. That's not normal. The majority of people are going to read the first 5 to 7 ingredients or until they get to a word they don't know. And that's if they're looking at the ingredients at all. If they are looking at the ingredients, they are going to be looking at them only until the 5th to 7th ingredient, or until they get to a word they don't know. So here we've got chicken byproduct meal, chicken, ground whole grain corn, corn. It's like whole grain, like on the cob. I don't know why I'm doing this Southern accent. Corn gluten meal, gluten. I know people don't eat gluten, but I like gluten. I'm on a gluten-full diet. Animal fat, animals, mixed with puffer chicken. And so that's exactly what's going to happen, is they're going to read until they get to a word they don't know. That word, by the way, my babies, is tocopherols. And what tocopherol is a natural humectant, a natural preservative. It's a fat-based preservative. The other thing I want you to see is another little tricky trick, little trickster. I got ground whole grain corn, and I got corn here. I think those were the only 2 areas I had corn. Sometimes you'll even find it again. Why do I have 2 different categories of corn? I will tell you why. If I combined the corn into one ingredient, guess what would happen to the weight of that ingredient? Guess what the number 1 ingredient would be now? corn. So what they do is they take the corn and they separate it out. I know it seems a little devious, but it is allowed. And they will separate out the corn so that it appears lower in the ingredients list, because we do not want corn to be the #1 ingredient. So as I said, sometimes we might have a food list meat. Other foods will list meat meal. So meat is about 75% moisture, and meal is only about 10% moisture. So what we need to do is mathematically remove the moisture and be able to compare the foods in the estimated protein. And we've done this before. All right, number 6, we have our guaranteed analysis. This is going to be over here. Sometimes this stuff is a little hard to find because it's right in the crack. That's what she said. All right. The guaranteed analysis. So right there is my guaranteed analysis. This is where you're going to find the moisture content, the crude protein. Okay, that's how you're going to get your estimated protein. Remember, crude protein does not mean protein. Crude protein refers to the amount of nitrogen. All proteins contain about 16% nitrogen, and I can use this nitrogen content to guesstimate the amount of protein in the food. That was where, remember, we mathematically removed the water, right? We got the moisture off of the bag, and we got the dry matter, and we divided by the crude protein, and that gave us the percentage. Everyone remember that formula we did a million years ago? This guaranteed analysis is where you get that information from. It will always be provided to you so that you can calculate out your dry matter and you can calculate out your estimated protein based on your nitrogen. So this crude protein refers to nitrogen. And it's only an estimation because we do have other things other than protein that can include nitrogen. So what we need to do is, by comparing, we can get 2 different moisture contents, like a canned and a dry, and have the ability to compare the estimated proteins. And I think I have an example. We've done this before. So here I have the guaranteed analysis. This will always be on your bag. This will always be on your can. Here I have my cans, and right there, bam, guaranteed analysis. So it will always be given to you. So what we need to do is we want to calculate out our estimated protein from this canned food. So we go ahead and we find our crude protein, which we get right here off of the package. We go ahead and get our moisture, which we go ahead and get off of the package. We take the moisture, 74%, and we subtract that from 100%, because what we're doing is we're subtracting all of the water, leaving the dry matter. Everything, and dry matter, really the definition is, if it's not water, it's dry matter. That leaves us with this, 26% dry matter. I then take the crude protein, I divide it by the dry matter, I get a percentage, and 30.7% is going to be the estimated protein of this canned food. Here we have dry food, and if you look at the crude protein, this one says 37%, this one says 8%. Well, the reason for that is this has 74% water, and the canned food is all diluted out. And that's why we need to remove the water, so that we are comparing an apple to an apple and not an apple to a watermelon. Here we have our moisture at 9%. So we take 9, we subtract that from 100. So 100 minus 9 is 91. That's our dry matter. We take 37, which we got from here. We divide that by 91, which we get from here. Turn it into a percentage. And here we have 40.6% estimated protein. So you can see, even though the crude protein really doesn't tell you a whole lot, in this case, the dry food does have a slightly higher estimated protein. All right, so this is where we got a little bit of confusion because I kind of got ahead of myself. So pet foods, canned foods can contain up to 78% moisture. And that's just your typical canned food, your plain Jane canned food. This canned food contains 76%. So it can contain up to 78%, still be well within. However, if I add a term like gravy, sauce, meaty juices, we saw that one on the Caesars Canine Cuisine, meaty juices. If I use any of those terms, I now have the ability to increase that water content to 87.5%. 87.5% of that food is water. Water. That means that, okay, 88 to like 12 and a half that's 12 and a half, right? 88, 98, yeah, 12.5% is all of your dry matter. And the dry matter is what is including your proteins and your carbohydrates and your fats and all of your nutrients. That's all part of your dry matter. Only 12% of the food contains any other nutrient other than water. That's crazy. That's craziness. And so, Britt, that's a great question. And my answer to you is I don't know. These percentage rules as far as protein, I know for a fact apply to companion animal diets. But when you get into like equine or exotics where they have very different nutritional needs, I don't know if these same rules apply. I know that, you know, you have your herbivores. Well, there's no protein. So obviously these protein-based rules would not apply. Here we got Beneful. I like Beneful. I find them colorful. This is a Beneful beef stew, which means because of this, I am able to increase the water content to 87.5%. This is actually a cutout. So this is what it looks like. So I had a kind of a funny, I think I told you about this. So long time ago, I was teaching nutrition and I decided to do a blind taste test. And so what I did was I got some Beneful and I got some Del Monte beef stew and I put them in unlabeled Tupperware. And I got like deviled ham and some other weird cat food. And I brought in some crackers and we did a taste test to see which tasted better. Beneful won over the Del Monte. I'm not kidding. I had to tell them to stop eating it because I had 2 classes and they ate all of the Beneful. They wouldn't stop eating it. I had to go get more for the second taste test. So apparently Beneful beef stew tastes better than the Del Monte beef stew. Cat food, however, does not taste better than deviled ham. All right, number 7. We're almost there. We've got now 7 out of the 8 things. This, in my opinion, is the most important piece of information that is on the package. This is the AAFCO statement. This is what certifies the food as complete and balanced. But what this also does is tell you specifically what life stage is this food formulated for. Just because it says dog food on the front of the package does not mean it's specifically formulated for adult maintenance. How do I know I look for the AFCO statement. And this is where, if you guys, those of you that have your pet food bags with you right now, I want you to find this AFCO statement. And sometimes they hide it. It's a sneaky monkey. All right, so here I have Beneful Originals with real beef is formulated to meet the nutritional levels established by the AFCO food nutrient profiles set for maintenance. Yeah, for maintenance. So this is telling me this is specifically formulated for adult dogs. This also tells me that rather than do their own testing, they followed the AFCO nutrient profile. What other things might we expect to see? So, first off, the wording is always going to be the same. It's always going to say, this brand, blah, 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 is formulated either by the established AFCO food nutrient profiles or by AFCO approved testing methods to be complete and balanced for, it's either going to say maintenance or adults, or it's going to say puppies, or it's going to say all life stages. And if it's all life stages, it's actually formulated for growth. This is just, that's a lot of words. And the reason that's a lot of words is because I took this directly off of the AFCO website. So this AFCO website, this is where you can get all of the testing parameters. So these testing parameters, I do have to test the lead member of my food. And what that means is that generally it's going to be a maintenance, because it's the food that is fed for the longest period of time. It's the food that I'm selling the most of. So I can either use the AFCO nutrient profiles, or I can do my own testing using the parameters that AFCO has put through. We already talked about this, about the 28 days and the 8 control dogs, and if they don't die in 28 days, it's complete and balanced. Holy crap, that's a lot of words. All right, so again, I took this directly off of the AFCO website, and there's a government website, so they're going to use 40 words when 2 words would have done just fine. All this is saying in all of these words is that the term all life stages has to be formulated for the stage that has the greatest nutritional need. However, here's the one thing that's going to make you kind of mad. Sometimes we'll use a term such as senior. This is a senior diet. I don't have to do anything different to the food to call it a senior diet, because the definition of senior is what we call a benign definition. It doesn't mean anything. When is a dog a senior? Well, depends on the size of the breed. It depends on the individual animal. Bentley acted like a puppy until he was 15 years old. Maisie has acted like an old lady since she was 6. You might have a giant breed dog. So if there's no clear definition across the board, it means there's no definition. It can't be interpreted. So I can list a senior diet, and I can put on the front of the package, senior. I can put on the side, formulated for seniors, but it only has to meet the requirements set for maintenance, which is one of the reasons why I've never transitioned my animals to a senior diet, because it doesn't have to have anything different than what it would normally have in the adult, unless it specifically says, you know, contains glucosamine, chondroitin for joint health, blah, blah, blah. If it just says senior diet, nothing different has to have done with it. Here's the definition of our AFCO. Basically, it's a government agency. It's state by state. It helps ensure consumer protection by mandating the minimums for manufacturing complete and balanced foods. It safeguards the health of animals. And primarily, it's there to level the playing field for commerce. Here we have the AFCO statement. Again, sometimes they'll try and hide it. The wording will always be the same. AFCO feed, so this one used the feeding tests. And this completes complete and balanced diet for growing kittens. Well, that's a good thing because it's kitten food. Here I have my AFCO. So here they did their own feeding tests. And it is, in fact, specifically formulated for maintenance. So this is not repurposed, repackaged kitten food. This is specifically designed for the support of adult cats. But here we have another one, Cheeky Monkeys. Okay, here they've again used the testing. And this dog food, which you would think would be formulated for dogs like adults, formulated for all life stages. Telling you what, puppy food. So do any of you guys, looking at your AFCO statement, have a food that you bought for an adult, but in your AFCO statement have it say all life stages? Just curious. I'm just taking a poll.
No, mine says adult cats.
Good. Adult dogs, good. So nobody had one that said all life stages? That's fabulous. That's so great.
Does the one that Brianna have, is that 2 different foods, Brianna, or is that all on one bag?
Yours
It's
says
all the
growth.
same. It was a cat food in the can, and it says growth of kittens and maintenance of adult cats.
Okay, so that would be in all life stages. Yeah, that would be all life stages. If it is for growth and maintenance, that's all life stages. Sorry, had to talk to she that shall not be named. Okay, look at this mess. Look at this. I've looked at this slide a bazillion times in my career, and it still takes me a minute to find the AFCO statement. There it is right there. So they used the feeding tests, all life stages. This is growth. This is puppy food. So this is the statement that will tell you specifically what is this food formulated for. Finally, number 8, we have the feeding instructions. Now this could be something at very minimum, feed so many cups per pound of body weight. Most of the companies, though, are going to give, here. So mine has a little, that's a range. So if your dog is between this weight and this weight, feed this much food, this weight and this weight, feed this much food. And this is usually a good place to start. Is it set in stone? Like, are the pet food cops going to come and get you if you feed something off label? Of course not. Are you going to need to assess a body conditioning score in order to tailor the volume of food to feed? Yes, you are. This is a good place to start, though. This is also how they get away with the all life stages, because a growth diet's going to have a higher calorie content. And the way that I can provide a maintenance for my adults where I'm not gaining weight, I'm not losing weight, I feed less of it. So that's how they compensate for the higher calorie content, but we don't want the adults to gain or lose weight. This is just definition, guys. There's no shocking news here. We count all of our energy in kilocalories, which is a bundle of 1,000 calories. You need to know how to convert kilograms to pounds and pounds to kilograms. Learn it, love it, know it. America is one of the only countries on the planet that still uses this form of measurement. Every other country on the planet has moved to the metric system. Why is that a big deal? Because all of the drugs that we use in veterinary medicine are measured in the metric system. We're still weighing our animals in this, pounds. So we need to be able to convert pounds to kilograms because the majority of our drugs is dosed out in mgs per kg or milligrams per kilogram. So learn it, love it, know it, because this math ain't going away. All right, so we do have some other label claims. We do have premium, super premium, holy crap, that's premium. We've already talked about this. These don't have to be any higher standards in order to say that it's premium. Because again, that's a benign statement. What's the definition of premium? Well, here's where you guys are going to get a little angry. The definition of premium is better than. And then ultimately, actually, I want to see your faces because. So the definition of premium is better than. And then you guys say back to me, what? Better
What?
than what? Yeah, better than what? And I go, yep. Better than.
The gum under your shoe, you know?
It's better than feeding this package. It's better than feeding cardboard. The definition of premium, super premium, ultra premium, gourmet is better than. Better than what? Yep.
So like when a dog food is super premium, it's just better than the regular bag.
No, not necessarily. It's just better than.
But we don't know what is better than.
Bam. Better than what? Yep. So there is nothing additional I have to do to the food to label it premium because there is no definition to the word premium. Does premium mean better than the original? No, it means better than. Better than what? Yup.
It's the way you said. It's the way you said. Bam.
Better than. It's like one of those. What is it? You know, who's on first? What's on second? Who's on first? Yup. Well, better than. Better than what? Yup.
And it's like it goes back to the point to where you said they're not lying because they didn't say like, oh, it's better than such and such. So it's like they're not lying, right?
There's no definition to premium. It's not my problem that you think premium means better than the original, better than the best food on the planet, better than my shoe. I can't control your interpretation. In definition, in pet food land, premium means better than. Better than. If you fill
These
in
dog
the
food companies are crazy.
if you fill in the what, if I say premium means better than, and you fill in like you just did, Mona, the original, I didn't control that and I didn't lie. You interpreted that it was better than this food. I never said it was better than that food. I said it was better than.
Oh yeah, they crazy.
Do you get it now? That's a great question, Brittany, and I'm not sure if I'm going to change my food. Now that it's only 3%, because honestly, here's why. Here's why I'm not super concerned. If my dogs were very active, if we went for long hikes every weekend, if I was walking them 2 or 3 miles a day, if it was my old labs, my old lab mixes, Jerry and Julie, where like 2 or 3 times a week, I would run with them beside my bicycle, and I would bicycle my little butt off, and they would keep up with me sometimes we would run them 4, 5, 6 miles. They're breaking down a lot of protein with that. My dogs, they tear around the backyard for 5 or 10 minutes, get hot, come back in and lay down. So they're not breaking down a whole lot of protein. So at a 3% protein, would that be sufficient for the labs who are breaking down that skeletal muscle with exercise? No, it wouldn't be enough.
No.
Is it enough where the majority of the exercise they get is wrestling with each other on the dog bed?
Yes.
Yes. So I probably would not change. If you have an active animal and have them on a WIF diet, I would recommend maybe looking into something in the 25% family. But for what my guys need, they don't. They
So
don't
would
like.
you
Go ahead, Mona.
I would say, would you consider like Purina should kind of be our go-tos when we're doing any pet food?
So you have 4 top brand companies. I call them the big 4. Hill Science Diet, Purina, Eukanuba Iams, Royal Canin. Those are the 4 big ones. So all of the foods that those 4 companies make is what we call a good, better, best. So regardless of your social or economical status, you can afford to feed your child, your fur baby, a complete and balanced meal. Wow, time flies when we are having fun, guys. Holy smokes. All right, so here's what my plan is for today's Friday, right? Is today Friday?
Yes.
Okay. I don't even know what day it is. Yeah. St. Louis, yeah. Their primary manufacturing is in St. Louis for Purina. So on Wednesday, we're going to do the last couple of minutes. I think I have 2 or 3 review slides. Then we're going to take the time on Wednesday and we're going to go over a couple of the illnesses. Now, we've already done quite a few. Actually, we've only got like 3 slides left. So and it's stuff we've already talked about, how organic is not the same as natural. I may go ahead, so go ahead and look over those last 3 slides. I may go ahead and give you one final little test before the end of term, get one final little test grade in. I won't do it over the weekend though. You guys take a break, study for your finals for next week, okay? I'm not gonna give you a test over the weekend. I'll probably open it up on Monday and I'll send you an email and remind you, don't worry, I got you. I'll send you an email, but I'll probably open up a test on Monday, close it on Tuesday. So let me see here, pet food labels, test Monday. And then we're gonna lecture over some of the diseases we haven't talked about, because we've already talked about FLUTB and obesity and diabetics and etc. We're gonna talk about food allergy. We might talk a little bit about dentistry. And then Wednesday afternoon, I'll open up your final. If you are interested in volunteering and coming and helping me with the newbies on July the 2nd, shoot me an email. I'll take the first 4 people and then I'll send you some instructions back. I really appreciate it. And again, I might have you stand up and just do a little talk with them about what it's like to be this new online hybrid student. So I'm very excited to meet them. I'm very excited for you to meet them. And I think that's it. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I'll contact you all Monday.
Wait, our Monday test is over pet food. That's it, right?
Pet food labels, that's it. That's it. All right.
Okay, then. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
You
I
too.
have a quick question for you.
Oh, yes.
So I was feeling well yesterday. I went to the doctor
and they went ahead and tested me for COVID. I won't know the results Monday. If it is positive, do I contact you or I contact directly Mr. Hilton?
Yeah, contact both. Contact me, contact him. There's no shortage of people to contact.
Okay.
So let me know first, just because I worry about you.
Yeah, I thought it was allergy. I was running a mild fever and my blood pressure was high, and my doctor was just like, we're gonna test you for everything.
Right. How was the test? I hear the test is awful.
It was horrible. It's like they were going to my brain. I started crying because like a reflex cry from your eyes, you mean? It's not like I was like I'll turn my camera on. I told you talking to the random thing. It was like a reflex cry, like they had gone to a certain point, like touching like the nerves near my eyeballs or something. It was horrible because it feels like they go all the way about here. And I started like from reflex, like straining my nostrils. She's like, no, I need to get further. And I was just like, oh my God. And what they use isn't like a cotton swab exactly. It feels more like you ever seen like a baby bottle dish brush? It felt like prickly.
Oh my God. Oh, you poor
So
thing.
Yeah, so it felt like she was scratching the inside of my nostrils. I was just like, they need to figure out a better way to do this. But yeah, I'm a little, worried.
Of course you are. Of course you are. Well, I don't do the prayer thing, but I will send you positive thoughts and
Thank
mental
you.
hugs. I send you mental
It kind of
hugs.
sucks too, 'cause I can't see my dad this weekend. He told me to quarantine
Yeah,
till
that's smart.
Monday, so I won't be able to see my family on Sunday. So it's
But why don't you Zoom him? Why don't you meet virtually?
yeah, maybe I'll try that. He said he may have just come and drop off food and see me through the window. I'm very
Yeah.
close to my dad, so
I am too. I'm very close to my dad. And I'm not going to be able to see him this weekend. We are trying to quarantine as much as we can because he had aortic valve replacement 5 years ago. Let me get
oh wow.
remove. So this would kill him if he gets this COVID. It would kill him. And my mother has lupus, so she's
Ooh.
immunocompromised. So I kind of don't want to kill my mom and dad. But I do. I FaceTime with them all the time. I mean, they live 12 miles away from me. It's not like a big deal to go see them. But we just, and when we do, we stay in the backyard. We stay 6 feet away from each other. But it's not worth it. But yeah, FaceTime him.
I'll FaceTime. He only lives minutes away. That's what's weird to be like, oh, I can't see you. I see Dad probably generally like a week over there, and I have dinner with him.
Right.
And so
I get it. I'm a daddy's girl too. I love my mother, but I am a daddy's girl. That's the approval that I seek.
Yes.
I gotta know my daddy's proud of me.
Very much. I mean, we were pretty close. So parents' doors closed like in middle school for a long time. I was Dad's only kid. So like him every weekend. Spruce Club.
Right.
So it is bad. I'm sad. I'm stressed at this point. If I'm feeling worse because I'm stressed out about the test, or if I'm actually sick, it's like a loop, kind of. Do you
Yeah,
mean?
I know. Well, it'll be better when you get the test results, even if they're positive. Knowing something is better than not knowing.
Yeah. And
So when you get them back, let me know. Just because I care about you, and I want to know that you're doing okay.
Okay, I'll let y'all know. So I guess have a better weekend than me.
You too. Well, no, you're gonna have a fabulous weekend. You're going to get a lot of rest. You're going to watch some Netflix, do some studying, have a couple of burpers.
Oh, I can't. He put me on preemptive antibiotic.
Ow, son of a gun.
I know. I asked that before I left. I said, this medication, he was just like putting you on a little bit of everything. He goes, just in case. He goes, and so he's like, I'm like, so I can't do anything really. And he was like, no, not really. I'm like, thanks.
Oh, see, here's what I would have done. I would have said, okay, that's great. When do I get the results? Monday? Fabulous. I'll start taking the medication Monday when I get the results back. I mean, what's
That
it
is
gonna
true.
do?
I'm
It's not gonna make you any less positive.
Walgreens messaged me. I know. Walgreens messaged me this thing. I have it, and like your prescription's ready. I'm like, do I need to pick it up today? I mean, will it make a difference if I pick it up tomorrow?
Right there. Is it gonna make you any less
And I'm like,
no. And then you can
no,
have
and I'm like, you
burpers.
don't need to go to the grocery store. That stuff's already in my fridge.
Then you can have some burpers. Just wait till Monday.
Thank
Ah,
you.
Get out of here. Let me know what they say.
Okay, for sure.
All right. See you later, my love.
Bye.
Bye-bye.